In this tutorial, we'll learn how to draw a table in two-point perspective. So as usual, let's start by drawing the horizon line. I'm going to place mine a little bit above the middle of the page so I can have more space below it to draw my table comfortably. And now I'm going to place my two vanishing points in the two corners of the page on the horizon line. So one will be for this side and one will be over here. Now the first thing we need to do is to find the top surface of the table that I'm about to draw. As I mentioned in my other tutorials, we have two ways of doing two-point perspective. We can draw converging lines from each vanishing point towards the middle of the page in a general area. Then we find our surface where those four lines cross each other and meet. Or we can just start with a vertical line and connect the top and bottom of that line to each of the vanishing points. I'm more comfortable doing it this way. And then we need to decide how wide the table will be on each side. The width of this side could be somewhere around here, so I'm going to draw my next vertical line here. And on the other side, I can have it maybe right here. And now I'm going to connect these two lines from the top to the vanishing points. So I'm going to connect this one to the left vanishing point. And then I'll connect this line to the right vanishing point. Now we have the top surface of the table. So next I'm going to draw the legs of this table. And I'm going to start with this front leg. Because this one's the closest, it's easier to draw it first. So basically all we need to do is extend this short vertical line down as far as we want the legs to be. I think this length is good for my leg. And what I'm going to do next is connect this line from the bottom to each of the vanishing points on the right and left. So line up your ruler and connect this bottom edge to each of the vanishing points to have one converging line on each side. Now we need to draw parallel lines on each side of this new vertical line. So take your ruler and draw two lines parallel to this one on each side. They should be almost the same width. We need to do the same thing we did on these two sides for these side legs. I'll draw the first vertical line extending from this corner of the table, and I need to draw one more line next to it to define one face of the leg. Try to keep the width similar to the front leg. We just need to draw the farther legs a little bit narrower, because they're farther from us, and they're receding back in space to this vanishing point on the right. So this one needs to be narrower than this one. But in general, try not to make it too significant or obvious and try to keep the rhythm of the legs. Now we're going to draw this edge here. So I'm going to draw my next parallel line. But to find this side, I need to connect the bottom of this line to the left vanishing point. I'll draw this converging line as a dashed line to find the right angle for my next parallel line. Now I'll draw my next vertical line here, extending it from the dashed line to this top corner of the table. So as you can see, these two are almost the same width. Now I need to darken this dashed line here. The same goes for this side. So I'll draw a vertical line here extending it from this edge of the table. The width of this leg should be the same as the one on the right. Because these two are the same distance from this middle point, they recede back into space at the same rate. I think this is good for this one. I'm doing this really freehand without measuring. And I need to darken this bottom edge because I drew my converging lines very lightly initially. Now I'll connect this bottom edge to the right vanishing point to find the side of the front leg on the left. Again, this converging line is going to be a dashed line. Now I have this angle and I know where to put my next parallel line. And remember that the width of this side should be the same as this one. And again, I'll darken this part of the dashed line on the bottom. Now, as you can see, I have a square-shaped table. So the back leg of the table is actually invisible to me. because from this angle my vision is blocked by this front leg. If my table was rectangular and this leg was a little further back and wasn't blocked, I could draw that back leg and show it to you, but I don't need to draw it now. My horizon line got erased, so I'm going to darken it again. Now it's time to darken the main lines in my drawing a bit. I'll do this again using my ruler. Okay, now we can shade our drawing a bit. But first, let's define a light source to it. For example, let's say there's light shining on it from the left. So obviously this side is going to be the darkest. And the side on the left is going to have a little bit of shading as well, just some midtones. So I'll take my pencil to shade these sides. I'm doing this lightly using only hatching techniques. Now I'm going to add a little bit of midtones here. The top surface of the table gets really light because the light is almost hitting it directly, so there's no need to shade that part. And that's it for this tutorial. We finished our table using two-point perspective technique. Thank you so much for following this tutorial. I hope it was helpful and easy to follow. Until next time, and have fun drawing!